What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker here on Unique Access Entertainment. As always, please hit that subscribe button. It's right down there and it's free. That enables us to keep coming to y'all as often as possible with as many interviews as possible. So please hit that subscribe button, like our content, share it, talk about it, be about it, each one, teach one. And we appreciate your support and getting us this far. Now, today we have the honor and privilege of talking to somebody I haven't spoken to in a while, but it's always a great time when we do. Pete Rock, thank you for coming through, sir.
Peace, bro. How you?
Man, everything is good. Always glad to see you and reconnect with you. And got so much to talk about today, but
yes.
We're going to take it somewhat chronologically, because I think a lot of the early stuff, we definitely want to highlight. And some of the things I remember from talking to you over the years that I wanted you to kind of go deep into was how your father had always had the ear for the bass lines and drum patterns, and how, you kind of saw that from him or learned that or noticed that.
Well, he always, my pops, he always played the records that had the drum patterns, but he himself didn't make beats. He was just a DJ, you know what I'm saying? And so with that said, he played a lot of great music, and he didn't, stick to one genre. He was playing everything, you know what I'm saying? From jazz to reggae, we're Jamaican, so that reggae is automatic. But he played classical, he played R&B, he played funk, he played like folk, you know what I'm saying? Pops liked a lot of different things. He had range, his range was wide, you know what I'm saying? And then I started to figure out how wide music really was when I got in my teenage years, you know what I'm saying? Like, hearing funk on like a album with white musicians, I would just be blown away and listening to it, because you just believe that, being a Black person, you just thought the music came from Black people, but I was totally wrong. You know what I'm saying? You had the average white band, you had so many great, rock groups. You had Boz Scaggs, who was doing like, a range of genres of music when you listen to his music. Bobby Caldwell, these guys really laid it down. Herb Albert, people like that. So my pops had all of that. Even Gary Puckett, if you know who that is, and if you know who Paul Simon is, you know who that is, and Barry Manilow. But we had our widest range of music was reggae.
And when you said you really learned in your teenage years, what happened then that made you expand even more than your dad had already done?
Hip hop, and getting to see and hear my, exercise my ear to listen for stuff that I can make beats with, you know what I'm saying? And so I would find samples on any, like, the weirdest records, you know what I'm saying? Even psych rock records, you know what I'm saying? But samples are everywhere, and you'd be surprised how some of the music sounds, because it just, and when I put my take on it, it just sounds really Black. But I didn't get the sample from a Black, musician. You understand? So like, I feel like color didn't matter with music and who played, and because you had musicians inspiring each other, whether they was Black or white, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
And, my pops even had a Bollywood music from the 70s, you know what I'm saying?
Wow.
Yeah, and it's just like, what a range of music that I was born into.
And did he ever?
Then in my teenage years, when hip hop came along, I just decided to be this master digger looking for records that I never seen or heard before in my life. Then being able to travel the world and finding different, a different ethnic group playing. I'll go to Paris and find records from India, or go to Germany and find like prog rock records I never seen before, Australia, that have just pure Australian jazz that I never heard before, from groups that I didn't even know existed. And that's how I learned about music being everywhere. And then, having friends that were diggers also, doing the same thing.
Yeah. And I think I wanted you to speak then about the importance of being open-minded, because it seemed like very early you were just like, if I like it, I like it, but you were also willing to experiment with different sounds, different countries, different types of music. Was that, do you think, because of your dad, or that was just natural, or something else?
I think, after, in the very beginning, a lot of people were sampling James Brown. Like everybody was sampling James Brown. And then it went from James Brown to all of, the groups we know, Kool and the Gang, Barry White, Love Unlimited Orchestra, and you had people using the same sample a lot. So, me, I'm not like that. You know what I'm saying? If someone wanted to, if say an artist wanted to use a sample someone else used, I would have to do it totally different from the way it's been out there. You understand? To make it, just to give it a different take or sound. But it's very important to do, to be versatile with what you do, because not all funky samples come from, American soul music. The majority of it did, but then you have to explore the world. You got Brazilian, you got Australian, you got German, you got Asian. It's crazy. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm talking about boom bap stuff.
It's a big world out there.
It's crazy out here, man. And it's just limitless. It's like when you think you got everything, you don't.
Yeah. And two, I was really interested in learning about, with the In Control WBLS with Marl, what did that teach you about what records worked, or production, or anything, or just being around him in that environment? How did that affect you and your outlook?
Rest in peace to Heavy D. I have him to thank for introducing me and bringing me to Marley's house. Just me being a spectator, watching Marley work, and just being in the right place at the right time. And, Marley needed someone as a DJ to replace, or to fill in for Kevy Kev, who was the DJ at the time. And that's how I got the job, man. Marley tried me out and gave me a shot. And being around in that environment, meeting all those groups and celebrities, made me want to do music more, explore music more, know, and, listen to who the men were behind the scenes making these great hip hop beats for people. I was closely listening to Howie T as well. You know what I'm saying? Marley Marl was like #1 at the time, because he had Juice Crew, etc. Big Daddy Kane, Biz Markie, Roxanne, Shantae. That was crazy bananas. That was like the '80s Wu-Tang. You know what I mean? Craig G, Master Ace. Yeah, and being around Marley at that time, it was everything that was happening. I was absorbing it, like a sponge, and I used to actually play my beats up there and play demos on the radio up there that I would do in my basement with CL Smooth. So that was one fun thing that I was doing up there, back in those days. It was very exciting.
Yeah. And also, I wanted to, with Eddie F giving you your first drum machine, when he gave it to you, did he just say here, or was he really breaking down how to use it?
I mean, dude had a lot of equipment around, you know what I'm saying, and just had the SP laying there. I think he was like using something else, but maybe another drum machine or something. But I was, something about that 12 I was attracted to, and he showed me how to use it a little bit. And then once he did that, I just took it home with me. He let me take it home, and I took it home with me and just did what I wanted to do and learned what I learned, from, getting tips from other people like Large Professor or Q-Tip, or, just being around producers and just seeing how they work, you know what I'm saying? And just, saying, all right, that's cool. Let me do me. Let me do Pete Rock though. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Let me just differ from those guys just a little bit, you know what I'm saying?
Well, one thing that I remember you had told me back in the day when we had talked one time was that you actually really read the manual and really studied it.
I did.
And a lot of people over the years, I've always been surprised when people say they never did that. So why?
I mean, I did that later. I didn't do it either until later. You know what I'm saying? I didn't get the drum machine and look for the manual and be like, I gotta learn how to work. I was told, I'm the type of person that if I'm watching you, I'm learning. If I see exactly what you're doing, hitting buttons, what buttons you're hitting, all that stuff, I'll look at that and just try to do it myself. I don't care if I'm messing up or nothing, but it worked out for me, man. You know what I'm saying? Eddie showed me a little bit. I learned a little bit from other people, and then, just kind of played around in my bedroom for years and years until I mastered it.
And what then made you later read the manual?
Just to see if I missed anything.
Did you?
But no, I didn't. I actually learned everything from other people telling me, and just like, Marl, and, seeing how people work and just having conversations with different producers.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
And then with the first time I remember seeing your name was the More Bounce off the Big Time. So yeah. What and you were on the co-producer on that, at least yep. on the credits. So what enabled you, or what was the time right, or what made it to where that was the song that got you in the door on the producer side?
Well, me and Hev was always working on music before that album even came about. You know what I'm saying? We was always, that's my cousin. So we was always at each other's house and playing around, and I would do pause button beats, and let him hear it. And he would actually want to do the idea for real. When Big Time album came about, I was hitting them with pause button beats. And that was More Bounce. That was Let It Flow. That was A Better Land. That was what else? Big Time, the song Big Time. That's all pause button.
Wow.
That Eddie F and I put together in the studio, realized what I wanted, and put the record, had the records, made it happen.
And then when that happened, and the realization that now you're actually doing stuff in a big studio, this is coming out, how did that affect your work ethic, if at all?
It didn't. It enhanced my work ethic. I was an ambitious young man when it came to I was an ambitious kid too, but I was an ambitious young man when it came to this music. You know what I'm saying? That's all I wanted to do, was music. I didn't care what my days was gonna. I woke up, that's what I thought about. You know what I'm saying? Okay. And so when you have a person like that, acting like that, he's bound to be something important.
Well, it definitely worked out that way for you.
Yeah, man. When you're passionate about something and you stick with it, the story. It blossoms.
Absolutely. Dedication is key.
Yes.
That being said, when I think about your career, the 91 explosion of just having so much stuff out there. And I know it was different back then because it was a lag time and all that. But
really 1992 is when it all started. 91, I did stuff, R&B remixes, with Untouchables and stuff before I broke out on my own and just started doing stuff, the PE stuff and major label remixes.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you had like The Peaceful Journey, you had Kid and Play,
yes,
main source stuff.
So Peaceful Journey, I wasn't co-producing. Now I was producing. So those beats you heard was me making the beats on Peaceful Journey, and I did like 5 songs on there.
Be sure to check out The History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
With Fab 5 on your TV back with NWA.
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the streets. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.